Welcome, I'm An Jong-hyun for Heart to Heart. East Asia is increasingly associated with booming economies, rapid urban development, and growing consumer spending. As a result, many scholars have their eyes on the East Asian economy. And they include my guest today, Professor Charles Hampden-Turner from Cambridge University. Great to meet you, Professor.
It's nice to be here.
So I understand you'll be spending the summer here in Korea, teaching at the International Business School at Seongyun University.
Yes, it's fascinating. Somebody should be congratulated for putting it together. You have students from 35 countries, which, considering it's the first time it's ever run, is an extraordinary feat.
And you're enjoying meeting those students?
Yes, I teach two courses. I teach one on cross-cultural understanding, because millions, indeed billions of dollars is wasted in cultural misunderstandings. And after teaching that for 15 years, we discovered that when good communication does take place, it's nearly always innovative, it's nearly always novel, and something exciting emerges. So the second course is on innovation.
On innovation. And these students come from what kind of backgrounds?
Well, I suppose I'm roughly a social psychologist. I was trained at the Harvard Business School in organizational development, as it was then called, but it's a kind of social science approach, psychology of innovation, sociology of innovation, things like that.
This is a course, or the program itself focuses on East Asia, is that correct?
Well, yes, I don't think all the courses focus on East Asia, but I'm interested in the East Asian version of innovation. I think all cultures are innovative, but they're innovative in different ways, and we have a sort of stereotype of innovation which you get from the West, and unless you're careful, you will accept the Western definition of what it is to be innovative, and you may lose your own sense of what it is to be innovative. And as far as I'm concerned, it is this part of the world that a new type of innovation is being practiced, and I would like to understand it better.
Well, we'll talk more about East Asian innovation in the second half of the program. In the meantime, why is there such growing interest in East Asia at the moment?
Well, you know, at least half the world is desperately poor, the wretched of the earth. Millions and millions of people have had no economic takeoff, and they are doomed to relative misery until they... And I think East Asia, countries like Korea, China, Singapore, Taiwan, are really a beacon of hope for the rest of the world. I don't think Western countries are that beacon of hope, because we have a 2 centuries lead, and we have you know, famous universities like Oxford and Cambridge, which it's going to take centuries to imitate and create. But you have found a way of innovating. You found a way of cutting straight to the leading edge of knowledge. And I think if I was poor and I was an African, or I was in Latin America, I would take the example of Korea, Singapore, China very seriously indeed. So
it's a model of growth for other developing economies.
Indeed, yes. I think you have discovered what economic development means. I mean, the speed of economic development is unprecedented. In the Industrial Revolution in Britain, the growth rate was about 1.5% a year, and now the growth rate is 8 or 9%. Every wave of innovation goes faster and faster, partly because the infrastructure is already laid down, but it's important to see that we are learning, the world is learning quite fast, especially East Asia. They're learning about economic development.
Does that mean we're seeing a slow and gradual shift in world economic power?
Well, almost inevitably, yes. I mean, China is going to be the second largest economy by 2140 at least, if not earlier. So, I mean, if China was, I wrote an article called "Will the Elephant Fall Off the Bicycle?" And if it did, the crash would be appalling. I mean, talk about recession. Anything serious happening to China would upset the whole world economy.
What do you think is the driving force behind such fast economic growth in East Asia?
Well, partly it's because the infrastructure is already there, partly because of the very high levels of inward investment. But I think more important than that, I think East Asians see the economy as a form of learning. You are communitarian rather than individualist. Mm-hmm. And I think when you go to college, you don't necessarily make more money in the rest of your life. The studies in America have shown that a college education doesn't actually pay off. What does pay off is that your wife, your children, your husband, everybody who ever meets you is better off because you went to college. Mm-hmm. And the real payoff is in the economy. And the extraordinary thing about East Asia is that they have ignored the advice of the West. According to the West, you first make boots and shoes, and then you make textiles, and you crawl up the ladder miles behind Western countries. And countries like Korea have gone straight to make microchips. They've taken a shortcut to the leading edge of the economy, and they've made high value added, highly knowledge-intensive products. And I think it's this understanding that what it's all about in the end is knowledge and learning fast. I think that's Asia's competitive edge.
Mm-hmm. East Asia did suffer its share of crisis, though, exactly 10 years ago, actually, the foreign exchange crisis that hit many countries in this region. But we were actually able to surprise the world by how fast we recovered from that. So all those things you mentioned, the zeal for knowledge, education, as well as the communitarian spirit, those things all contributed to the recovery, do you think?
I think so. Mm-hmm. I think also because you have a much better instinct of what is important. I think first there's a slight advantage. Mm-hmm. Technologies come out of the West. They're mostly still invented there. But the technologies are actually of quite uneven educational importance. And what you've done is choose the best. In orthodox economic theory in Britain, $1 million worth of potato chips is worth as much as $1 million worth of microchips. Mm-hmm. The fact that it's a million is a million, and it is consumers who put the value on something. Now, that's interesting if you're an economist, but it really is nonsense. I mean, the truth is that $1 million worth of microchips, memory chips, run across hundreds of products. Mm-hmm. They become the brains, the intelligence. Your garage door opens automatically. So almost, you put microchips in the horns of Texas cattle. You can tell where your cow is by the fact that the microchip is saying, I'm here. My head's been caught in a wire fence or something. And then you get a helicopter and you free your beast. And so microchips run right the way across all products. And for some reason you have grasped that. And for some reason we in Britain are very slow to grasp that. I used to help the Welsh Development Authority in Wales try and get Korean companies to invest in Wales, and we were interested in creating jobs, but we never asked ourselves, what is the value of the job? Are these going to be skilled jobs? Are these jobs going to last? Are these jobs going to make Welsh people more intelligent? And I find this mistake is not made here, it's not made in China, it's not made in Singapore. People always ask, how well off will be the worker once he has learnt this job? Will he go up the skills ladder? Will he know more?
Why is that? Why are people different?
I think Chinese and Korean people have an ancient belief in learning. I think China had civil service examinations 400 years before Christ. They had competitive examinations to get into the civil